Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, as I'm sure you guys know, we've been seeing a lot of drama still when it comes to the Xbox and PlayStation, when it comes to the Xbox acquisition of Activision. And this is kind of a more crazy stuff here because we now have an official website from Xbox themselves basically pleading for this deal to go through. And it's kind of intriguing because, you sometimes see like the tweets or maybe public statements or, lawyer talk and all that. We don't usually see official websites coming out discussing on like, please, let's go get this deal. Please, we're going to spend $70 billion, please. So I'm going to go through it, kind of talk about like the pros, cons, and what even Xbox themselves are trying to go and say. And it's a little bit more intriguing too as well, because as you guys may or may not know, because I was even playing up on Twitch, so definitely follow up on Twitch if you guys want to, we were checking out some Overwatch 2, which was actually a little bit better than I thought it was going to be with the graphical updates and everything else. And as well, we have the World of Warcraft expansion 2, Call of Duty coming out in a few weeks as well, and a lot of folks are actually kind of on the somewhat pro Activision train, at least right now, because, well, there's basically no games kind of coming out too. So we're going to talk about this, talk about how Microsoft thinks it's still going to be the smallest platform after comparing itself to Nintendo and Sony itself, and as well, just give you guys all the talks and thoughts on it. So as well, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on for the PS5 giveaway, and also we do also have the Twitter link down below for the giveaway itself. We have the Twitter and Twitch stream down below if you guys want to follow. Amazon links especially because there should be a drop coming soon, and Target links to check for the consoles. And let's dive on in. So, as we've kind of seen like quite a few articles popping up as well, stating that like Xbox claims that Sony and Nintendo will remain the biggest even after its Activision Blizzard deal, which I'm not really fully sure if that's going to be true or not, because I think $70 billion invested into a gaming firm as big as Xbox, I gotta be honest, I think that might make Xbox the big honcho. Now, it may not be the biggest in terms of consoles, but don't forget about the PC. Like, just imagine gaming as a whole. Nintendo's pretty much only consoles. PlayStation is like probably like 80-90% consoles, as they've been trying to slowly get on PC. Xbox also has a lot of PC user bases because you could have Game Pass on PC, as well as you also have the Microsoft users, all that type of stuff. So I know that's not necessarily gaming, but their ecosystem is there, and as well, if you factor in other games and the titles they own, and now with Bethesda and Activision, I don't know. Like, I think they're kind of getting maybe number one. I mean, that might be debatable, or it might just be more so long term. So Microsoft has officially launched the website, which I'll show you guys here in a second, now arguing the benefits of the deal. So Microsoft has claimed that Sony and Nintendo will remain the biggest players when it comes to traditional gaming, even though its proposed acquisition of Blizzard goes through. So the company recently launched a new website designed to voice its perceived benefits of the acquisition, as the deal continues to be scrutinized by competitive regulators worldwide. Among the arguments made is the claim that the deal will benefit the gaming industry, that it will lead to greater competition in traditional gaming, where Sony and Nintendo will remain the biggest. Now, I really don't think so, like in my mind. Like, I think Nintendo has its niche and does very well for consoles, but it definitely doesn't seem like it's like the big powerhouse. A lot of people look at Sony as like the market mover of, what is Sony doing? What is Sony doing wrong? How can we do it somewhat better? That's like a big statement we've seen a lot from Xbox. And as well, Nintendo is kind of like, I don't want to say it's a non-competitive console, but like that's for like the kids and casual folks and people who like the good Zelda, Mario games, etc. While Sony's more for like their big single players, and it seems like Xbox is like just the conglomerate of everything. And as you guys probably know, the conglomerates of everything usually do better long term. So basically, a lot of these people are trying to say that the competitive niche is really good for gaming, but it's also one of the biggest issues with the takeover. And I keep on stressing this because this has been a big lawyer point that hasn't really been addressed, is that it's just a really big barrier of entry when you're not like a Tencent, you're not like a Sony, etc. And even EA and Ubisoft might start falling behind too as well, because they just can't offer as many games. So it's not entirely clear what Microsoft means by the biggest, whether this means it feels like Sony or Nintendo will continue to sell more consoles, which is probably going to be true, although it's not going to maybe be in terms of overall profits, especially let's say you have PlayStation consoles being sold and they're buying Call of Duty, they're still making money. So the news site is titled Our Vision for Gaming, More Choice and More Games for People Everywhere, and attempts to argue that the acquisition would actually benefit people besides Xbox owners. Players and developers are at the center of Xbox, it argues. We want to enable people to play games anywhere, anytime, on any device. And developers deserve more options to build, distribute, and monetize their groundbreaking games. When we do this, we all win. That's why we're sharing more on the industry and how our acquisition of Activision Blizzard fits into our gaming strategy. So let's go back to the website, which is kind of what it was kind of tussing into as well, where they basically just said what I just said. They want to enable people to play games anywhere on any device. So think xCloud, things on their PC, Xbox Series S, or whatever it may be. And they want a lot of developers to be able to make whatever they want to do and monetize their games. And they're kind of trying to say this when we do this, we all win. That's why we're sharing more on the industry of how our acquisition of Activision Blizzard fits into our gaming strategy. So they have the latest acquisition updates too as well, where they have all this type of stuff from Phil Spencer on September 1st, where we've had a chance to go talk about this, where he basically says, hey, like we want to work with regulators, we want to have transparency, we want to have openness, we want everyone to kind of know, they want to be able to share this stuff. And that's a big thing with PlayStation is that they can guarantee the next 3 or 4 years, but they still have not locked in like 15 years, 20 years from now, or how their overall thing's going to go. They do have their official commitments too as well, where they want to make sure all these deals are being progressed, and they remain confident that it will close in the fiscal year of 2023. They did signed agreements to Sony to guarantee Call of Duty on PlayStation with feature and content parity, at least for several more years. And once again, people just want to know how long is going to be. Several too as well. They also want to work other different types of concerns too on top of that. They're in the same version of Call of Duty available on PlayStation, same day launch as well. And they just want people to have more traditional console games from Blizzard on other platforms via cloud gaming. So that'd be like Overwatch, maybe even Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, etc. So we're kind of seeing more of this type of stuff where they're trying to push like all these benefits. And like they're really going for it. Like they wanted the benefit for players, more games on more devices. And I'm down with the Xbox acquisition. Like if they actually kind of pull through and make it so it's better when it comes to, let's say, the for Nintendo, that's cool. Oh, same with PlayStation. That's cool. But the thing is, you never know. Like, if you're dropping $70 billion as, like, benevolent as you want to try to go and claim to be, you still got to make that money back. You still got to churn some dollar rooskies, especially if you have Big Daddy Microsoft kind of breathing down your neck. So that's kind of scary because, yeah, you can maybe guarantee it for 2, 3, 4 years. And in my mind, if you're spending $70 billion, I mean, you probably deserve it, in all honesty. But it's just weird. It's just really weird because we don't know. We don't know the internal details. So like they're trying to go push it and make these websites and be like, no, we're the good guys here. But like you kind of got to prove it. I mean, I think they are in their best faith efforts. Like I'm just very strangely skeptical on all this stuff. If you guys want to give your thoughts down below, feel free to. I know we've been kind of covering this up a lot on the channel. So you basically can choose where and how to buy the games, and you can either do on subscriptions on Game Pass or one-time purchases. And for 95% of gamers who play on phones, there's going to be alternatives as well for dominant mobile platforms. So they probably want to try to chime into that too, because I do believe Activision has a lot of big mobile games where they turn some profit. They also want to have more benefit for game creators, so developers, and putting more money into the gaming industry and stuff like that. Better revenue and maybe more Game Pass subscription revenues, or be like, hey, we'll give you $1 million. Let's have a 1-year contract with Game Pass too. They want to have flexibility in payment systems as well. And they also want to have and push the benefits for the gaming industry. More competitive on mobile, where a couple of big players dominate, which in all honesty, I'm not really sure how that's going to really happen because this is just another one big player joining on in. They also have greater competition in traditional gaming, where Sony and Nintendo will remain the biggest. Once again, I don't think any company's goal is ever to not be the biggest, and if you're spending $70 billion when some of the market caps for these other companies are not even like pretty much around that, that's also kind of a cause of concern. So like it's kind of weird because it seems like Xbox is really trying to be like the benevolent king, be like, oh, we're going to have cool stuff, we're going to have emphasis on positive workplace culture and increase local investments for Microsoft and studios and creative ecosystems. But like this will be a lot of this stuff just obviously for Xbox's benefits, you know? I mean, that's fine. Like I'm not saying that's a bad thing in terms of business, but like they're trying to be like, oh my God, like we're going to make sure Nintendo and Sony's the biggest. It almost kind of seems like they're trying to play the underdog, but the underdog usually doesn't have $70 billion to go and play with. So they have a few other things on the website, just basically saying that there's a lot of friction between creators and gamers, App Store policies, aka probably like Apple and App Stores and Fortnite, and they just want to make sure they can try to clear the air for this. Now, if they can go and make all this stuff happen, I am all for it. I'm not anti at this at all. I think it'd be great for the gaming industry as a whole. But the one big thing is we've kind of mentioned is that you look through some of this stuff and you can kind of look through some of these companies and like say like for Sony. Sony's market cap for Sony Group Corp is at $83 billion. Activision was bought at fucking for $70 billion. And we also have Nintendo stock too, which I'm not really entirely sure because it's on the Japanese currency, which I wish I could kind of just put in American currency. But like they make good money and they are a good business. But at the end of the day, they're also just not that big at the end of the day compared to $70 billion. So I don't know. I just think Xbox is trying to make themselves seem like an underdog and try to get some sympathy in the world. But at the same time, if you're dropping $70 billion, you should really go milk monetize that all the way. I just kind of feel like we have to actually, I don't want them to speak it. I want them to do it. And until I see them in motion doing it, I kind of have no faith. So So again, give me your thoughts and comments down below. As well, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. The Amazon links down below, the Twitter and Twitch stream down below, the Weeble and all the Target links as well down below. And I appreciate you guys all so much for watching in the first place.